Hey, family, welcome to How Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love. Long time no see, huh? Well, family, I have, as I mentioned, I think the very last time we had an opportunity to speak, I was suggesting and mentioning that I would be retiring shortly. I will be retiring in March uh, of 2022. All things being equal, nothing changes. Um, and so, what I wanted to do today is I thought I needed to go ahead on and start to produce more content about, how love works from my perspective, as well as maybe some other areas that I have not discussed since I've started my channel. Um, Today, my topic of discussion that I'm pretty interested in today is I wanted to share with a with my audience a an issue that's been kind of dealing with me for a period of time, and that issue simply is: are Black people in general, are we really ready to love one another? That's my question. I think it's a fair question. I mean, based upon the current day dynamics, since I have not been in front of the camera and since I haven't been involved that much with my channel, I had an opportunity to sit back and listen, in a sense, listen to the comments that would come in as a result of the videos and the content that I have made in the past. And I found out about a lot of activity that has been going on in this dating, mating arena. And I found out about some people that I didn't know anything about. One in particular is a guy someone brought to my attention. His name was Kevin Samuels. I hope I don't, mess that up. And another phrase or title was called the manosphere or something like that. And um, I don't really have anything negative at all to say about either. All I wanted to really say is that um, from what I've noticed, because I went to Mr. Samuel's channel and I looked at what he had to say to women and how he spoke to them. And the only takeaway that I have is that he has some very strong opinions. Um, and I don't necessarily have a lot of beef with any of his opinions. I think that he is, in fact, certainly in our environment, I'm talking about the Black community, he is a disruptor. He says things that you will never hear um, from a church pulpit, and you will never hear unless you go into a man's barbershop. You won't hear many of the conclusions and that he makes, especially often the conversations that he has with various women. Now, the manosphere was something that I didn't know about as well. I didn't know anything that there was a such thing as a manosphere. I guess I'm saying all of this to say that there is obviously just as many men that are hurting and have a voice concerning certain outcomes and results that they would like to see, as well as women. And so my channel is obviously not designed to really point any fingers at any particular group, whether it be male or female, because remember, that doesn't make me special what I'm about to say now. I have a biblical worldview, so I see everybody as responsible. I see the men are just as responsible as the women. And my beef is that there isn't enough accountability on either part, male or female. I think the biggest um, area of agreement that I do have with Mr. Samuels, where he and I align perfectly, is that he appears to desire to see the reestablishment and the rebuilding of the nuclear family in the African American community. He appears to really want to see that. Now, some may disagree with my interpretation. That's what my takeaway is. Okay, so I also feel that that is needed in our community. And I don't think that will ever become a reality, at least not in the numbers that I think we need to see in our community, until we learn how to love and stop thinking like we're children and stop acting like we're animals. Now, what do I mean by that? Often, when I hear women talk about love, they come from a context of a Disney movie, something they've seen off of Netflix, and it's almost like, they're trying to find love, they're trying to feel love, they're trying to fall in love, and those things, they all sound nice. They really do. They make you feel warm and cozy on the inside. But we live in the real world, and one thing I know that women are real good at, especially modern day women today, they are real good at knowing how to prepare themselves for a job or a career. They're real good at that. And often very good at disciplining themselves and setting boundaries in order to achieve that result, which is a job or career. But for some uncanny reason, when it comes to getting into a relationship that will transition from a relationship into a life covenant partnership that will last until death do us part, we think that it doesn't require any preparation at all. And for the life of me, I think that is, at a minimum, ignorant, at a minimum. But I think often it's just immature, it's childish. Any endeavor that is worthy of your time and your effort, that has the effect that marriage and family has on the individuals in it, as well as the individuals outside of that relationship, and the world and society at large will all be affected by that nuclear family. And to think that it doesn't require, at least at a minimum, a bare minimum, finding out what your assignment is when you get into that marriage. You need to know what is required of you. And beloved, that's where I am. You see, you guys know my story, those of you who have been part of my small community. You know how long I've been with my wife. Okay. This year, we will be together 40 years. Okay. And it has been a great ride. I love it. And I don't think my life would have been nearly as productive and as abundant as it has been without her influence. And I am proud of the 3 children we have. All 3 of them are married with children. And I am very fulfilled as a man. I can't take credit for the woman I chose because I listened and I followed the directions of my elders and I followed the directions of the Word of God. That's all I did. I wasn't that smart, but I was smart enough to humble myself to recognize my limitations. And that's all I'm saying now. Until we get to the point in our community that we're willing to look at ourselves and look in the mirror and say, hey, there's something that I'm missing here. We need to get this action. We need to figure some things out. And that's all I'm saying. We need to find out what is necessary in order to be able to love one another and do what we need to do. I'm going to be discussing that in the next several weeks. Stay with me. That's my time. I thank you for yours.